Hello and welcome to my 100-pound weight loss journey. Today's topic, seeing the health benefits of a low-carb diet. And good morning, everybody. This is Ralph from my weight loss journey. And I thought I would go ahead and do the podcast outside. It's late at night now when I'm recording this. And we have a nice cool evening. We had a nice hot day today. And I just felt like getting outside and just doing some work out in nature. So if you hear some nighttime sounds, that's what's going on. I'm in the front yard just doing a podcast. Now, today's topic is seeing the health benefits of a low-carb diet. And before I get started, I would like to say that this is not medical advice. I am not a doctor. I am not a nutritionist. I'm just a guy that about 3 months ago decided that I wanted to do what I could to improve my health, lose weight, and decided to go on a low-carb diet. And I'm here today to kind of share some of my results after 3 months of being on a low-carb diet. These are some of the health benefits that I have begun to see in my own life. And my wife also decided to do the low-carb diet at the same time I began. And she has also begun to notice, some positive physical changes. And the first one that I'd like to mention is, I think I shared in previous podcasts that I was getting a rather nasty case of cellulitis on one of my legs. And after being on the low-carb diet for 3 months, that cellulitis has now begun to clear up. I was treating it with tea tree oil and just keeping it clean and using compression socks, and that kept it from spreading any further. But now I've begun to notice that after 3 months of being on low carb, that is healing. It is beginning to clear up nicely. And today I didn't even put on the compression socks. I forgot all about them. And I looked at my leg this evening and it is looking a whole lot better. Much improved. So that's a major positive change. One thing that my wife and I both have noticed is that our body odor is not really as bad as it used to be. I sweat a lot, and I notice that usually I have to just wash my clothes after a couple days of wearing them. And my wife pretty much the same way. But now we're noticing our clothes are not as stinky as they used to be. And, when it's not rainy outside, when it's not snowing outside, I try to get outside and be as physical, as active as I can, and do some exercises and do some heavy-duty chores around the house. And I'm noticing that, my body odor is not as bad as it used to be, so stinking less. I think that's a definite positive change right there. And, my wife has noticed that her hair is less oily being on this low-carb diet. And, that's great. I'm noticing a similar change in my hair, too. Just less oily. I don't have to shampoo as often. And, I used to, because my hair was super oily. I used to be shampooing every day, at least every other day. But now it's like it's just not a big issue anymore. And another positive change is that I've noticed now I am sleeping all night long. Before, I was getting up every couple of hours to go to the bathroom, frequent urination. And the past couple of nights, I've noticed that, I'm going to bed kind of late because I've had a lot of things to get caught up on. and sleeping for about 6-7 hours. And before, where I was getting up to pee about every 2 or 3 hours, now I'm able to sleep through the entire night, get up in the morning and do my thing. And when I do have to pee, my bladder empties, full, and I mean completely. And before, I remember when I would have to go urinate, it felt like my bladder just wasn't emptying fully. But now, after 3 months of being low carb, that has changed. And I'm drinking about as much water as I used to, but it's just urination is a less frequent thing with me now, and I count that as a good thing. And I've noticed also that I am healing a little bit more quickly. I had a interesting experience yesterday. We have a cat she's going on, close to 20 years old now. She's an older cat, and she's developed a case of epilepsy that started a couple years ago. And the other day I was holding her and petting her, and I was in the bedroom and just giving her a little bit of cuddle time. And she started going into an epileptic fit. And I was being very careful. I didn't want to drop her on the floor. So I was trying to lay her gently on the bed where she could just go through her epileptic fit without, injuring herself. But before I could get her on the bed, she clamped down on my finger with her jaw, and she just tore into me. And the poor thing couldn't help it. But I was bleeding all over the place. The bedspread, after it was all done, just looked like a crime scene. And man, it was just a mess. But, after I got her jaw released from my finger and got into the bathroom and started cleaning it up, I'm noticing now that as much blood as was lost, that wound is healing nicely. And now, just 24 hours after the event, my finger is a little bruised. It was pretty badly bruised this morning. But the bite marks have begun to heal very nicely. The bruise is going away. I have never really healed that quickly in recent memory after something like that. But now, my body is healing a lot more quickly, and just feeling a whole lot better. And that brings me to the next part on my list here. Aches and pains, I feel, are decreasing. My wife, she used to have these little balls that would appear around her face, on top of her head, around her neck, and they have begun to disappear. And she's noticed that the areas of her body that used to be quite painful when she touched them, that pain has decreased tremendously. And in my case, I used to suffer from, pretty bad backaches. And it got to the point where I could no longer lay flat on my back in bed and go to sleep. I had to lay on one side and sleep that way for about an hour. And then I was turning over onto the other side because of the pain. And now, I'm noticing that those aches and pains are decreasing. Pretty massively. And, a couple nights ago, I was able to sleep flat on my back. Haven't done that for years, and it felt pretty neat. And I'm using a lot less ibuprofen. Since the beginning of our low-carb diet, I've avoided using ibuprofen. And the only exception to that was yesterday, after the cat accidentally bit me in her epileptic fit. I was in quite a bit of pain there temporarily, and so I took a couple doses of ibuprofen. But now, after healing up over about 24 hours or so, yeah, that pain has diminished. I haven't taken ibuprofen since this morning, and everything's healing up. Aches and pains are decreasing. Just feeling a whole lot better. And finally, why do people go on diets? Usually it's to lose weight, look better, feel better. And I'm noticing that change is happening too. I am looking better in the mirror. I am beginning to shape up. Uh, it's really wild, but a lot of people, we have different agendas when we go on a low-carb diet. I hear women talking about their experiences on YouTube, talking about after a year or two, their breasts really begin to firm up. In my case, I'm going in the opposite direction. I'm trying to trade in my man boobs for a six-pack, and I'm beginning to notice that starting to happen now. I mean, doesn't look like I'll need to be fitted for a man bra anytime soon. And my upper body is getting into much better shape, losing a lot of fat around the middle, and losing a lot of fat just all over. So, it's been a really neat experience the last 3 months. So, those are just a few of the health benefits that my wife and I have both begun to notice doing this low-carb diet. And, it's been a very positive change. And, one other change, I think I've mentioned this on previous podcasts. I used to be hungry all the time. When I was eating carbohydrates, addicted to carbohydrates, I was hungry all the time. I was craving food every couple of hours. And now it's like, I can eat a pork chop in the morning and then drink some water, have a cup of coffee, and, I'm fine. And then I can eat another pork chop in the late afternoon or early evening. And, that pretty much does the trick. Right now, it's about 10 o'clock at night when I'm recording this. And I'm a little bit hungry, but, I'm thinking I'm just going to grab a glass of water and go to bed and not worry about eating until sometime tomorrow morning. So where before I was just feeling like a compulsion to eat every few hours, now it's like I can eat a couple times a day, drink some water, and, maybe a little bit of coffee now and then, and just feeling a whole lot better. So, meal planning, that's radically simplified. And 2 meals a day, that's easy for me now. I used to think, boy, it would be nice to be able to cut back to just 2 meals a day or 1 meal a day, but with my cravings, I just couldn't see how I could make that happen. But now that I've been off the carbs for 3 months, those cravings have gone away, and, I'm happy just, eating a couple times a day. So, another very positive change. So, that's what I've noticed in my life and in my family life after the last 3 months of being on a low-carb diet. And the kind of diet that we're doing is carnivore, extreme low-carb. I may have maybe 5 or 10 grams of carbohydrate a day, and that's about it. My wife is still eating a little bit of fruit, so she's probably getting about 10 grams to 20 grams of carbs a day. But, radical change from what we were doing just, 4 months ago. So, I'm glad that we began this diet, glad we began this weight loss journey. And we'll see, I don't know how long it will take me to reach my goal of 100 pounds. But if I manage to lose that much weight within a year or a year and a half, I'm thinking that's going to be great. That's going to be good enough. Because the more important reason that I had for starting this low-carb diet was to really begin to reverse a lot of the negative, bad health side effects that I've been experiencing for the last couple of years. And I noticed that was just getting worse. And so, I just felt it was time to really get down and make some major radical changes. And now it's neat after 3 months beginning to see the benefits of those lifestyle changes. So that is all for this podcast. We will see you later. Thanks for dropping by. And remember, if you're wanting to lose weight and feel great, I applaud you. But, before you make any major lifestyle decisions, you may want to consult a doctor, a medical professional, before making these lifestyle changes, especially, if you're on any kind of medication. And remember that what you hear here in this podcast, I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. So, before you start taking advice from some random dude on the internet, be sure that you check things out with a qualified professional. So that's it for tonight. Thanks for dropping by. We will play our exit music. And again, best wishes in your weight loss journey. This is Ralph signing out.